Hey everyone, I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today, we're diving into a story full of secrets, betrayal, and a plan so perfect it almost got away. What happens when trust turns into a weapon, and the people you believe in most are the ones pulling the strings behind your back? Stick around, because this one's gonna keep you on edge till the very end. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our next videos. The cafe was packed, full of overlapping conversations and the hum of coffee machines. Min sat tucked away in a shaded corner, where the umbrella blocked most of the light. Across from him, Mai leaned forward nervously, her eyes darting around the room. "Why did you ask to meet here?" she whispered. "There are so many people. What if someone sees us? What if they find out?" Min smiled, calm and confident. "Relax, Mai. The more crowded it is, the safer we are. Nobody's paying attention to us. Just drink some water. You'll be fine." She glanced over her shoulder, still uneasy. "I'm just afraid someone might notice and ruin everything," she muttered. Min leaned back, his tone cool and certain. "So, what do you think of my plan? Perfect, right? I've known him for years. I understand him. He trusts too easily. All you need to do is keep building that trust, and our next shipments will go smoother than ever." Mai frowned slightly. "And what's next? What's our move after this?" Min checked his phone before answering, his voice casual but deliberate. "Don't worry about that yet. I'll handle the next step. You'll know when the time comes." She nodded reluctantly. "Okay, but tell me when you've got it figured out. I met him today. He didn't suspect a thing, but he blamed everything on his secretary. If we can get rid of her, everything will go much easier." Min smirked. "I've been thinking the same thing. I don't like her either. But be careful. He's already sent people to investigate the issue. We can't afford mistakes." Mai's tone dropped lower. "That's exactly what I'm worried about. If he finds anything, we're finished." Min replied firmly, "Relax. It's all under control. I even had the truck license plates changed after the delivery. No one can trace it back to us. As for the money from the previous shipment, don't worry. I'll transfer it to your account later." Mai nodded. "Good. Just don't make me wait too long." Min stood up, gathering his things. "I have to go. Stay here for a few minutes before you leave. Don't walk out right after me. We can't risk being seen together." Mai sighed softly. "Got it. Be careful." As Min walked away, his phone was already against his ear. His voice changed. Calm turned cold. "Hello, boss. Everything's going smoothly. The handover is perfect. Yes, don't worry. Honestly, she's easy to fool. Just a small amount of money, and she does whatever I want." He ended the call with a faint smile that hinted more of calculation than calmness. The scene shifted to the agricultural company's meeting room. The air was heavy, silent, except for the faint hum of the ceiling fan. Alex sat at the head of the long table, his expression tense. "Where are they? Call them in. We need to talk about this shipment. I can't believe this happened." The door opened, and both Mai and Ms. Lan stepped inside, their faces anxious. Alex looked up. "So, what's the status of the investigation?" Ms. Lan answered first. "I've already sent people to look into it, but so far we haven't found any clues." Mai added quickly, "They forged the license plates that day. That's why we haven't been able to trace anything." Alex held out his hand. "Show me the contract from that deal." Ms. Lan handed it over. "Here it is." Alex scanned the pages carefully, his eyes moving quickly. At first glance, this contract looks clean, no errors. When Mr. Sun came that day, I reviewed it myself and signed it before handing it to Ms. Me for the shipment. Ms. Lan explained, "That same day, I went to survey a few grapefruit farms to make sure we had enough stock for the partner. That's why I couldn't personally oversee the delivery. It's my fault, boss." Alex frowned. They were clever. Fake documents, fake license plates, everything looked legitimate. Mai said, "I was there supervising the loading. Everything seemed normal. Ms. Lan had signed all the papers. There were no red flags. But I agree, part of this is also her responsibility because she didn't verify the customer information carefully." Ms. Lan lowered her head. "You're right. But that day, Mr. Sun called me directly to place the order. He paid 20% up front. I told you about it, and since you also trusted Min, I assumed the man who came was his staff. I didn't expect this would happen." Alex's voice rose slightly, frustration slipping through. "You can't make assumptions like that, Lan. This was a major shipment. Before delivery or signing, you should have confirmed every detail. One phone call could have prevented this." Mai spoke softly. "Boss, I take some responsibility too. I was there but didn't double-check the plates." Alex sighed. "It's not just your fault. It's ours, all of us. We trusted too much. Now, we have to focus on finding whoever impersonated our partners. I'll reach out to the authorities to start an investigation. In the meantime, you two go manage the Adam shipment. Make sure that one goes perfectly." "Yes, boss," they both answered before leaving the room. When the door closed, Alex stayed behind, staring at the papers on the table. He murmured quietly to himself, "Who would do this? I've kept to myself since returning home, never made enemies, never picked fights. So why now? Where do I even begin?" His mind spun through possibilities, frustration slowly giving way to determination. "I can't afford to lose this shipment. It'll hurt the company too much. Whoever did this, I'll find them." That evening, the atmosphere was completely different. The house felt warm, the dinner table softly lit. Tuna set down a bowl of rice in front of him and smiled. "Here, eat while it's hot." Alex looked up, his smile faint. "Thanks. Is Henry asleep?" "Yes," she said. "He played all afternoon and passed out right after dinner." Alex nodded absently, his mind clearly elsewhere. "What's wrong?" she asked, noticing his distraction. "You've been so quiet lately." He hesitated for a second, then admitted, "Something happened at the company. One of our shipments ran into problems. I'm trying to get it back." Tuna frowned, worry written on her face. "Is it serious? Will it cause a big loss?" "It's a large shipment," Alex said honestly. "If we can't recover it, the damage will be significant, but I'll handle it." She reached over, gently squeezing his hand. "You've been under so much pressure. Please don't push yourself too hard." Alex looked at her and smiled softly. "I'm used to it. In business, you can't avoid risks. Just having you beside me is enough." Tuna smiled. "Eat then. I made your favorite, spring rolls." He took a bite and laughed lightly. "You always know how to cheer me up. They're perfect." She asked quietly, "Does your mother know about this?" "No." He shook his head. "She's getting old. I don't want her to worry. I'll fix it myself." Tuna nodded, her voice warm but firm. "I believe you will. You've always been strong." Alex looked at her, eyes softening. "Thank you. As long as you believe in me, I can handle anything." The soft light reflected off their faces, two people smiling gently through the pressure of what lay ahead. But behind Alex's calm expression, his mind was already turning, determined to uncover the truth behind the deception that had just shaken everything he'd built. The following morning, a thin layer of fog covered the farm, the kind that made everything look distant and uncertain. Alex arrived at the office early, still burdened by what had happened. The loss of the shipment had shaken him deeply, not just because of the financial damage, but because it revealed something worse. Someone inside his circle had made a serious mistake, or worse, betrayed his trust. He walked straight into the meeting room, a pile of reports waiting for him. Ms. Lan and Mai followed shortly after, both looking exhausted. Alex glanced up from his desk. "Any progress?" he asked. Lan shook her head. "Not much, boss. We rechecked the documents, but everything seems legitimate. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing." Mai added quietly, "I've talked to some drivers. They said the truck that picked up the shipment looked identical to our regular partners, down to the logo and papers. Even the driver introduced himself using the right name." Alex frowned, tapping his fingers against the table. "So they copied everything, even the identity of our partners." "Yes," Mai said softly. "And that's what makes it hard. They must have gotten inside information." That phrase hung in the air like a shadow. Alex didn't respond right away, but deep down he agreed. Someone must have leaked the details. But who? Everyone on the team had been with the company for years. It didn't make sense. After the meeting, Alex retreated to his office. He stared at the framed photo on his desk, a picture taken 3 years ago with the whole team smiling in front of the first shipment truck. Back then, everything was simpler. People worked with trust and loyalty. But now, he couldn't help but feel that somewhere among those familiar faces was the source of his problem. He called the transport department. "I need a list of all drivers and assistants who handled shipments in the past month," he said, "and send me their route logs." When the data arrived, he noticed something odd. One of the delivery routes from Min's department didn't match the official schedule. A truck had been dispatched 2 hours earlier than planned, and the shipment's registration plate was missing from the record. Alex leaned back, uneasy. Min had always been efficient, smart, and loyal, or so he believed. Maybe it was just a clerical error. Still, he decided to question him personally. Later that afternoon, Min walked into the office, smiling as always. "You wanted to see me, boss?" Alex nodded, scanning his expression carefully. "Yes. There's a record from your team that doesn't align with the schedule. A truck left earlier than it should have, and its plate number isn't listed. Do you know why?" Min paused, pretending to think. "Oh, that might have been a last-minute pickup for one of our smaller clients. We had some leftover crates, so I told the driver to deliver early to clear space." His answer was quick, confident, almost too confident. Alex studied him, then nodded slowly. "All right, make sure everything is properly logged next time." Min smiled politely. "Of course, sir. I'll double-check the records myself." As Min left, Alex watched him go, the doubt in his mind growing stronger. He couldn't point to anything specific, but something about Min's calmness didn't feel right. That evening, Alex sat at home with Lytuna, but his mind wasn't at the dinner table. She noticed immediately. "Still thinking about the shipment?" she asked. He nodded. It doesn't add up. Everything looks clean, but I know there's something I'm missing. It's like a puzzle with one hidden piece. Lytuna reached across the table and touched his hand. You'll find it. You always do. Alex smiled faintly, appreciating her quiet faith. But deep inside, he knew this wasn't over. The person responsible hadn't made a mistake. They had made a move, and he was determined to uncover who it was, no matter how long it took. Back at the office, in another corner of the city, Min and Mai crossed paths briefly in the hallway. They exchanged a quick, wordless glance, nothing suspicious to anyone watching, but enough to carry a silent understanding between them. Both smiled faintly, continuing in opposite directions, as if nothing had ever happened. And somewhere in Alex's mind, the storm kept brewing. A feeling that the truth was closer than he realized, hidden right under his nose, waiting for the perfect moment to be revealed. In this gripping story, Min and Mai secretly plot to deceive Alex, the head of an agricultural company, by forging contracts and stealing a major shipment. Confident in their plan, they manipulate trust and money to hide their tracks. But when the company suffers heavy losses, Alex begins to investigate, slowly uncovering the truth behind the betrayal. As evidence builds, suspicion falls on Mai, leading him to discover Min's deeper involvement and a powerful figure pulling the strings from the shadows. Through deception, greed, and manipulation, relationships crumble and loyalties are tested. In the end, Alex exposes the truth, determined to rebuild his company and restore what was lost, while Min disappears, hinting that the game of deceit is far from over.